Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Weekend Winners in association with BetVictor as we preview the pick of the action from the jump season finale at Sandown. Joining me in the studio, Declan Rix. Congratulations on your long shot going in last week in the Easter Classic.
Yeah, thank you. I should say thank you to David Egan because I thought he gave the horse a belting ride. I know Oisin Murphy got a little bit of stick for Old Horovian, didn't he?
He was kind of the biggest talking point really out of it, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Sound like he didn't get the credit as a result.
I think he definitely shaped like the best horse in the race, no doubt, but I think it was David Egan's ride that got the winner home. So thank you to David. I owe him an L point, and that's my type of ride. Put destiny in your own hands and got him home. So yeah, 18-1 winner. So yeah, roll on the flat, or is it?
Is it?
Or is it?
Yeah, the blend of seasons, jump season finale though. But this is so exciting, going down to the wire. Dan Skelton.
You love doing the hokey cokey, do you? I'm not a fan of it. We're like jumps, flat, jumps, flat,
a bit of all weather,
turf. Back to jumps.
Oh, it's a great game though, isn't it?
Be a good day at Sandown on Saturday, won't they?
Cannot wait for
Trainer's title on the line. Sean Bowen being crowned champion jockey. So, yeah, one more week of the flat or of the jumps. Or is it? No. We've got Punchestown and the Guineas next week.
And Punchestown, yeah. End of the British jump season at least anyway. Now, Dec is with me in the studio, but you might notice that Sam Boswell is missing, but he is zooming in via the power of technology from Gibraltar. Sam, I'm surprised I'm talking to you, to be honest with you, ahead of tomorrow, but this is why I've worn my claret and blue today, just for you. And James, our director, as well, I should say.
Yeah, FA Cup semi-final, Kate, games don't come much bigger, do they? And I really do worry that you are going to be left upset because the mighty Crystal Palace hopefully will get the win over your beloved Aston Villa. Dec, big well done for last week. Great effort there. Very much first world problems, I'm thinking here. You complaining about having to switch codes because, let's be honest, it's a great time of year. It's all in front of us on the flat and we have got some really good action to go at Sandown on Saturday.
I can't believe it. Looks like you know, the bookmakers had a brilliant Skelton. They had a good entry, and it looks like Sam's taking a second job at Heathrow Airport. What's going on?
You'll be getting an extensive tour of the BetVictor office, judging by the various meeting rooms I'm going to need to be in. So yes, I'll give you the tour.
Looking forward to it. Yeah, nice to see you in your airport get-up. But loads of aeroplanes on offer this weekend, though, aren't there, at Sandown? Now, before we get stuck into the action properly, a reminder, as ever, to please do gamble responsibly. Our tips are not guaranteed to win, but we will still do our best to point you in the right direction. Right, on with the action now. We're going to kick-start with a 225 at Sandown. This is the Grade 2 Oaksey Chase. So, Gaelic Warrior is heading the betting at 11-8 here, Dec.
Yeah, he is heading the betting. We've got 9 runners in here, and King Willie sending over 4 to make Dan Skelton's life tough. They've got 4 in here. And look, it's never that easy, but I thought on the form book it looked a little bit of a match between Gaelic Warrior and Pictory, although that's a brave thing to say given where it's end of season and whatnot. But look, the BHA handicappers got Gaelic Warrior on 170 and Pictory on 162. I would have them a little bit more close together, and I think the bookmakers see it that way as well, looking at the prices. Look, I think just at the price I'm going to side with Pictory. He's only had 2 starts this season. You know, he's going to come here fresh. We know he likes going right-handed. We know he likes good ground, and you know that's what he's going to get. And this was him earlier on the season beating poor old Corbett's Cross, and he was very good this day. Now I think, to be fair to him, you know, obviously Long Press bombed out in the race, didn't he, in Corbett's Cross? This certainly isn't his trip or his ground, so he really should have been winning this race if he was in good order, but he was in good order and he went and won. And, you know, in theory, this is a step down in grade, isn't it? Although Gaelic Warrior is definitely a better horse. But, look, I'll side with him. Just a small little bit of a worry would be Willie's, like I said, has got 4 in there. Gaelic Warrior wears a hood and he's a hold-up horse. Just Carrie Cobden, I think, is going to need to be aware that one of the Mullins horses might soften him up kind of early or mid-race, but he's got plenty of early boot, and if he gets into a good rhythm around there, I hope he will take a bit of catching. It
feels weird that this isn't a race that he just targets every year. I was kind of going back through his previous form and thinking, how is he not kind of always in this?
Yeah, well, I think, maybe a little bit of a worry is he didn't go to Aintree this year because he has gone there before, so hopefully everything's all right. But maybe Paul was just kind of thinking, look, we're not going to beat John Bon on a going day, so we'll come here and try and finish the season on a high.
Right, one for Paul Nicholls then for Dec. Sam, who do you like?
Yeah, I thought this was an interesting contest, and thanks to Willie Mullins sending multiple runners, it's possibly ripe for an each-way bet, isn't it? And I was going through the field, and just you've got to think a lot of these Skelton and Mullins runners this weekend, if we're honest, is a little bit of an afterthought. And with that in mind, I just wondered if Le Patron was just too big a price to make the frame. He arrives here probably much likelier race than a lot of the other horses that have had busier campaigns. And I think it's fair to say at Ascot last time out in the Grade 1, he was disappointing. And, you know, I think you kind of just have to forgive him for that. It wasn't his running. So I'd just say, looking at the bigger picture, really, is he a bit overpriced on the face of things? He's going to need to improve again, but he did obviously win that Scilly Isles round here. The Henry VIII, I should say, in really good fashion. He likes Sandown. That ticks that box. He definitely will go in the ground as well, because we've got this better ground right now that I think he'll appreciate. And I just was trying to look for something at a bigger price to make a bit of a play against horses that could potentially just underperform a little bit to their rating, given they've had a busy time, I think. So a very small tentative each way play on Le Patron for me was the route I came down on.
A horse that I've liked, he's done me a turn in the past as well. I just was slightly concerned about the ground then potentially for him. But as you say, at the prices, though, he could well look overpriced.
I think when he won at Newbury, the ground was okay. It definitely wasn't soft, kind of wintry ground anyway. So he might be all right. And he loves Sandown, doesn't he?
Yeah, he really does. And I know, like I said, I'm going to leave him at the price. So I did have a big look at him in terms of the each-way play in this, but I'm glad that Sam's got him, because he's sort of got the horse covered at that point then. Gaelic Warrior, though, for me. And Gary I trust, because he's just an enigma of a horse. Still have no idea actually how good he is. It's so bizarre, considering all of the Grade 1 wins and the impressive successes he's had. I still have no idea how good he actually is. Is he overrated? Is he underrated?
I'm the exact same. What's his trip? What's his ground?
Yeah, literally, he is an absolute enigma, is he? Such a character of a horse.
Yeah.
And, of course, with that brilliant ride from Patrick Mullins at Aintree last time out as well. And he won again left-handed. And, again, we all pigeonholed him. Oh, he can only go right-handed, especially in his novice hurdling days as well. He can only go right-handed. Can't go to Cheltenham. And just look at him now from what he's been able to do. And so impressive at Aintree last time out. So this now, going, of course, then with the Arkle success as well, going left-handed last year. But over 3 mile 1 last time out. The hold-up ride, perhaps then to be able to get the trip. As you say, he was in the hood again there. And he settled reasonably well as well. Jumped well, straight. And then he just extended really nicely on the run-in. And that was from some proper Grade 1 staying chases as well. When you look at Grey Dawning, Stage Star in 2nd and 3rd. So, yeah, he's just a proper top-notcher. I think he is, when he's on song, he's difficult to beat over any trip, any track, wherever he goes to whatsoever. So, yeah, I'm going to hope that Gary proves himself, as the official ratings say, to be the best horse in the race. But he could absolutely bomb for all you know.
Yeah, that's it. He's got that kind of profile, hasn't he? Mate, to be fair to him, if you take, I know he did win a handicap hurdle at Leopardstown early in his career, but when you take the latest runs from Leopardstown out of his kind of profile, he is pretty solid. But I'm with you. I struggle to work him out. So no doubt he'll come and bite me on the backside tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hopefully he does, because I'm with him. But 3 different selections then in our first
Surely one
race.
of us will have the winner.
Oh, probably not now. After all of that, do let us know in the comment section below who you fancy for our opening contest there. As we move on to the 3 o'clock at Sandown, this is the select hurdle over 2 mile 5.5 furlongs. Another Willie Mullins favourite at the head of the market here. So, Deck, you with or against?
I'm probably going to be against, and I think out of all the conditions, the graded race at Sandown tomorrow, this in terms of betting interest in the betting races is the best for me. You know, we've only got 6 runners, but it's a competitive race. And I think the market is maybe underestimating the chance of maybe Take No Chances and Blue King Daru and Salver. I'd probably have Kitzbühel and Lucky Place a little bit bigger. I'm hoping we'll get a little bit bigger about Lucky Place, and because that's the selection for me. Now, I'm returning to an old friend here in some regards, because I did put him up in the Stayers hurdle in the hope that, you know, he'd just get home on spring ground over 3 miles, but he just did too much in Nico de Bonneville's hands that day, gave him no chance of getting home. So I think the drop-in trip tomorrow is really going to suit him, as is getting back on proper spring ground. You know, he's by Pistorius, a horse who's got plenty of horse that like a bit of decent ground. And, you know, as we saw here at Ascot, you know, he's got that touch of class. And, this was his first start to the season. He was getting weight from Blue King Daru, but his next time start at Cheltenham when he won the Red and Keel, he took a big step forward. That form was obviously boosted by Gow Road. So the combination of the drop-in trip, back on better ground, and James Bowen, a different pair of hands, I'm hoping we'll get him home tomorrow. Obviously, Nico de Bonville is going to miss the rest of the season. He took quite a nasty fall at Plumpton, I think. So I think James getting back on board this horse is a plus because he knows him well. And James, just a different pair of hands, I think will hopefully settle him a little bit better.
Yeah, we're sending our best to Nico de Boinville as well. We really nasty fall there. And so, yeah.
Whatever pain Nico is feeling at the moment, it will probably be doubled if the likes of John Bon and Constitution are winning over the next week.
That's the worst part, really, that they'd all say, isn't it, of injuries, is sitting on the sidelines and watching your horses go and pick up grade ones and such like. But yeah, Nico, hopefully a speedy recovery for you. Now I'm with the favourite again. I'm with the Willie Mullins horse again, just hoping the Willie Mullins bandwagon just continues to roll on, because Kitsbull, I know he disappointed last time out, but this is the final race of the jump season. He's not going to miss. He's not going to leave this behind now, is he, Willie Mullins, by any means? So he's coming back 3 weeks later after his disappointment in the Grade 1 Liverpool hurdle over 3 miles. And but now he's back in trip, 2 mile 5.5 furlongs. Considering on his first 2 starts for Willie Mullins over 2 miles, I'm hoping he's kind of found his Goldilocks trip here. And I just thought that the combination of the step up in grade as well as the step up in trip found him out at Aintree. And you have to remember that even for a close Sutton inmate, both of those things are still a huge ask on one of the biggest stages of all, going to the Aintree Festival. And he did jump a little bit to his right as well, so I'm hoping that going right-handed will see him to better effect in this one. And of course, he is dropping in grade 2, dropping in trip. First time hood, not really an angle I particularly liked. Do you remember last year, the 2024 Cheltenham Festival, on the first day, Willie Mullins put a hood on everything, and all of the stats were getting laid out by everyone saying he's got a terrible record and first time hoods, especially at Cheltenham. And then Gaelic Warrior, the enigma that is, goes and does what he does, and a whole load of them running well in their first time.
Kopek to board as well in the Supreme this year, I think was another one, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's a very good point actually as well. So yeah, it's proven time and time again by Willie Mullins. It can be done. It's well utilised as well. So yeah, Kitsbull then for me to hopefully make amends for last time out. Again, do let us know in the comment section below who you fancy. Right, we're going to move on to the 3:35 now, the Celebration Chase. So John Bond, the favourite, chases a 3rd successive win in this race. Dave, do you want to go first again?
Yeah, we'll go first. Yeah, this is probably not a race I'll have a bet in, to be honest. And if you want my honest opinion, this race should be absolutely scrapped from the fixture list. It should be gone. It only came in the year of foot and mouth to give those horses a chance in the Grade 1 at the end of the season. If you want to run right-handed over 2 miles at this end of the season, you go to Punchestown. But anyway, as ever in the show, we digress. Look, I think John Bon will take a bit of beating in it. Look, he would be, I won't have a bet in the race, but he'd be the selection. Things are just coming right for him again, aren't they? Good ground, right-handed. I think he's been to Sandown 5 times and he's won there 5 times. He's unbeaten at the track. He's going for a hat-trick in this race. And as I said, conditions are coming right for him. Again, as we've just touched on, it's going to be another race that Nico won't be riding him in. That's going to be interesting now to see how he gets on, because listening to Mick Fitzgerald talk about Nico and John Bond's relationship, Mick has always said Nico is a big, big key to this horse, along with Paddy, the guy who looks after him, because he can be a little bit fizzy. So it'll be interesting to see how Mark Walsh gets on with him, because I would say it's fair to say Mark and Nico have different styles. You know, Mark is a very quiet, classy rider, takes his time, but that's not how you ride John Bon. You send John Bon, you get him into a good rhythm, you hope the starter doesn't have a nightmare so he can get off to a good start, and then you build into a rhythm. So really looking forward to seeing how Mark builds a relationship with him and how they get on. The ground's come right for him. He's going for a hat-trick in the race. As the market suggests, he's got a wonderful chance. So he should take a lot of beating, but I will only be watching.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it, from the betting perspective. But also, I actually don't think that's a bad price about him whatsoever. When you kind of think, I mean, Ilite Tomp absolutely adore the horse. We both do, don't we?
Yeah.
But coming back from that length of a layoff, yes, he's so talented and he's such a diminutive type. You couldn't imagine he's going to take much training, but of course he's had his issues. So how fit and ready is he actually going to be for this, taking on John Bon, who, yes, as we know, kind of back to Cheltenham, where he's shown that he can disappoint and fluff his lines every so often. But then to get back on track last time out again, he's such a wonderful horse. But of all the horses where you'd say, if they're jockey dependent, well, not dependent as such, John Bon would be the one, as you say, who's built up this brilliant relationship now with Nico de Boinville. And so I wonder about that. But Mark Walsh, such a classy and experienced rider, the best man. He was just there, wasn't he, ready to get. Sam Boswell, you've got a different location now. You did say this is going to really mess with people's minds.
He's rocked up to Cheltenham now all of a sudden.
Ironically, we have managed
the time machine. What's going on? You in the quantum realm.
This is the meeting room named after Cheltenham, somewhat ironically. So let's hope it doesn't jinx John Bon, because that's who I'd be with here. It's a really unoriginal pick, I know, and I appreciate Kate's obviously just explained about the rider change, but for my money, I'm not going to let that bother me. He goes well at the track, and I kind of think, John Bon, the story of this horse really is, look at this race and what he's up against, I guess. And does he even need to run to his rating to win this? Probably not. Energumene and Edward Stone are certainly not getting any younger, are they? I'd be concerned about the ground for Energumene as well. And Ilila Thomp's coming back from that break. It's just John Bon's race, isn't it? And if you don't like to back shorties, probably leave it alone. You might find there might be a little bet boost or two out there, especially with ourselves for John Bon. So, like I say, I think it's one of those that you could probably just watch, clap him round, or if you want to put him in your multiples, we've also got lengthen the odds options, but I wouldn't be backing him to go too far. He's had a long season, but he just wins for me.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Interesting with the long season angle. He actually looks like a horse who thrives on his racing. It's very hard to tell, and that's why we're kind of sitting on the fence maybe with some of these races. Well, I think it feels like that because, betting is hard enough with unknowns. It's harder at this stage of the season. So we'll see. I hope he goes and wins it, because I was like, I don't get too gutted about horses not winning races, but I really wanted to see him have his name on a Cheltenham Festival.
Yes, Cheltenham Festival win, I know. Surely one day, but I'm starting to just think, is it ever going to happen for him?
Time's probably going to catch up with him now, but we'll see.
Hopefully he gets crowned, though, on Saturday, doesn't he, then, as the best two-mile chaser about. Do let us know if John Bon wins in the comments section below. Right, we're going to move on to a proper handicap now, a proper betting heat as well. The Bet365 Gold Cup comes up at 4:10 at Sandown. Now, Willie Mullins has 10 in here. He literally has half the field in this one. High Class Hero, though, is the favourite at 4-1. Paul Townend on board. So, poor Dan Skelton, Sam. He just feels like, with this now being at 4:10 as well, are we just prolonging the inevitable with Holy Smoke waving his little union flag for Dan Skelton?
I must say, I commend the fact that we're going to get to this point, hopefully, and it's still going to be maybe in the balance, because at least it builds for some good television and crescendos. But yeah, you've got a feel for Skelton. Both trainers had exceptional seasons. You take your cap off to both. But it's interesting, this betting market. Whatever Paul Townend probably was picking was going to end up, I'd say, the shortest of the Mullins runners. I really respect High Class Hero's chances, but I'm drawn back to an old friend in Dancing City, who, for my money, is a horse that can run well in the spring. And I know when you look through this season, the win that came at Naas was in absolutely attritional conditions. Punchestown was on the yielding ground, and an easier contest when he was sent off at a very short price. But since then, obviously, the Cheltenham and Aintree runs you would be disappointed with. But let's not forget what he achieved last year, winning at the Punchestown Festival. That was on good to yielding ground as a hurdler. I think he could be feasibly quite nicely treated here. It just with the way that the race is set up with Grange Clare West in there off 168, I think it really does help out the likes of him. John Joe O'Neill Jr. gets the ride. Doesn't bother me at all. And I think novices, when you look through this race, in recent years, Hewitt springs to mind as one that took this, and I quite like the fairly unexposed angle. I'm sure you've done a Tracey's Trends, Kate, and 7 and 8 year olds look reasonably like the ones you want to be on, so that would rule out a few in here. And Dancing City, I just thought around 6-1. I probably don't want to take much shorter. We'll be probably playing him as a bad each way bet, but I felt like he was the one that I came down on from the Mullins gang. Of the others, I thought I like the look of Transmission in there. For Neil Mulholland, certainly will enjoy the ground, but it was kind of a case of which Mullins horse did I want to be with, and that's where my pin came down.
I can't believe he's going for M&M again, isn't he?
M&M.
Yeah, because this horse needs 8 Mile.
My brain brain could not work quick enough then to figure out what was
Put
going
him
on.
up for the Brown advisory as well. To be fair, he's getting a trip to run at tomorrow, to be fair, isn't he?
Yeah. Proper trip to run at.
Yeah, I think that's a really fair point, Dec. But there was a horse that nearly did back-to-back wins in this renewal, and he's a different profile of horse. But he reminds me a bit. Do you remember Just a Par for Paul Nicholls? Who's I think he ran very credibly when he won it, and then he nearly followed up 12 months later. And whilst he wasn't a novice that time, it just that sort of run style. That's the sort of horse I was drawn to. And I think this is it's a bit of a different type of race to what it was in its heyday, but it's still a cracking renewal and a really good betting heat. And I did wonder if Dancing City could one day make up into a Gold Cup type horse, who we all know sometimes you could argue not even the best horse wins the Gold Cup. But is he a bit of a plodder? We'll see.
We shall find out for sure. Yeah, he's a great big unit of a horse, isn't he?
So wouldn't be for me now. I think he needs more. Maybe a Midlands Grand National horse, maybe down the line or something like that.
Yeah, shots fired.
Even thinking about betting him now, it's making my wheeze neak and my palms sweaty.
Go on then, who do you like?
I'm with another Willie Mullins horse. I'm with High Class Hero here. Sam's already touched on it, but I think with Grange Clare West running off top weight, that means 11 horses out of the 20 are officially out of the handicap. So the horse down the bottom of the weights, it makes it even tougher. So look, he's got a really good profile for this race in terms of handicaps. He's only had 3 starts over fences. He's really unexposed. We shouldn't forget last year as a novice hurdler, he finished second in a Grade 1 novice hurdle behind Dancing City. I think he's £3 better off with him on that form. But, you know, while he's got that unexposed angle as well, lads, that probably is a negative in terms of experience, especially in a big field. But he also had 3 starts in Irish point-to-points, and I think he's taken defences really well. For a novice, he's quite a good jumper. He's good and solid. He can do everything, bit of quick feet, bit of scope, the whole lot. I suppose another worry for him is he is coming here having been beaten at 2-13 at Thurles last time out. But I don't think 2 Mile 5 around a track like Thurles on good ground was ever going to get to the bottom of him in terms of stamina. And the horse that won it, surprise, surprise, was a JP McManus, I think Joseph O'Brien trained horse by Glen Eagles. So, you know, kind of bred to have a little bit of toe, have a bit of class, and he was just done for the 2 of those things. But I thought he ran well. He's going to enjoy getting back up to a staying trip. And look, at the end of the day, Willie's going for the title. You don't need me to tell you why this horse has got a chance. Paul Townend is riding him. It's the pick of Paul Townend. You know, it's a big day for the yard, and they're going to go from. So, you know, we're not going to go fully Bonnie Tyler on you here now, but, you know, it could mean that Willie needs a hero, and I'm hoping High Class Hero will be his horse.
Oh, there you go. I was wondering again where this was going, and you never failed to deliver. There you go. Right. Right where we wanted it in the end. Now, 2 Mullins horses so far.
You going to make it 3?
I am.
Oh, here we go.
I mean, literally 50% of the field. So, and with so many prominent ones in the market as well, that, yeah, I just think the juggernaut is just going to really hit home in this one. However, different to a pair of your 2, I do respect High Class Hero. Obviously, the choice of Paul Townend as well. He looks on paper to have every chance to go and win this. But last year's winner at the prices, Manella Kakuna, it surely has to be, where he ran such a cracking race in this. He just loved bouncing off the spring ground in the race last year off a £4 lower. So he's come back down the handicap now from a rise to 158 as a result of 4 poor runs this season, but in Grade 1 company 3 of those times, and a Grade 3 as well. But back in a handicap last time out, and the biggest and greatest handicap of them all, the Grand National, running off a mark of 157 and nearly running without his saddle as well. Johnny Burke did wonders to keep the tack in place there and finish 7th as well. And, you know, Johnny did wonders to even get around, let alone to get the horse to finish 7th in the race. But because of that, and we know he's not the easiest of rides, he did lack some sort of control in the way that Johnny would perhaps like to have ridden the race in the closing stages. Yeah, he just hit the front that bit too soon, didn't he, as a result of it, and got tired on the run in. So he's actually getting a cut back in trip here. Still a marathon distance, but getting a cut back in trip. £2 lower as well. So yeah, I thought horse at the prices, Manella Kakuna would be the one. So 3 different Willie Mullins selections for us. He surely has to win it, doesn't he? 1, 2, 3, Allah the Grand National as well for Willie Mullins to crown himself as the British trainer champion yet again. So, lads, thank you very much for your thoughts. Time for Dec and I, though, to head over to the Sky Pad to give you our best bets for the weekend. Now, before we get into our best bets of the weekend, eye catchers time. We're bringing back this feature deck. So who has caught your eye this week?
Right, we're going to go to Newbury. We're going back a couple of weeks now, but it was at their first flat meeting of the year. And whisper it softly, it's a horse called Shout. For the Simon and Ed Christopher team, thought he made a lovely debut at Newbury. Probably wasn't in the right place given the pace. There wasn't a lot of gallop on. Rab Halvin's, I think he dropped him out nearly last at one stage. Now you can see him here, he breaks quite well and he's drawn stand side, but Rab after a furlong and a half ends up having a change of heart and he switches him to the middle of the track, and then by the end of the races we'll see he ends up switching him back to the stand side. So that wasn't ideal. That's one factor you've got to take in. The other factor, like I said, he was in the worst place from a tactical point of view in terms of how the race was run. It wasn't run at a strong gallop, but he really did finish out well. Now he's by Advertise, who've done really well with his 3-year-olds last year, and his dam is actually related to a horse called Overdose, who was a really good sprinter from Hungary. So he's got a pedigree to be nice. This was a good debut. I think wherever he goes, pace will absolutely help him. This was over 7 furlongs. He could get a mile looking at his striding data on the At the Races website. It was a good positive start. The Crits have started the season well, and he's one to keep in mind. I did have one, maybe I think flat tracks could suit him. I just thought in places he wasn't ideally balanced, so I'm not sure a new marketer that could play to his strengths. So I think flat tracks, your Haydocks, your Doncasters, your whatnot could go well. He's a horse who could maybe run well at Chester later in the season, because I think the strong early gallop that they get in races there could suit.
Shout for you then. Sam, who caught your eye?
Yeah, I'm going to take us back to All-Weather Championships Day, and it was the first race on the card there, the listed race, where I think the second can really be upgraded for the performance here. John Gosden and Kieran Schumacher have had a good start to the turf season, but I think this is just a horse that perhaps bumped into a horse with a bit more experience that just managed to get, I think, a better position throughout the race in Glittering Legend. We see Kieran Schumacher just out on the wing a little bit here, which probably wouldn't have been a massive advantage to help him. People were very excited about this horse after some of the times he showed at Kempton on debut, and I really like this effort here, and I think the Dante looks like it's next on the agenda potentially. We'll find out a bit more about this Kingman colt and see just how good he is, but with only the 2 runs under his belt today, I think there could well be more to come, and this race for me I thought was a top quality affair on the all-weather.
You know what? It's going to be a case of deja vu, and I'm hoping that the listed Burradon Stakes is going to be a race to follow, therefore. Mainly about the third horse in that race. So you were with the horse who finished eventually second in that. I'm with the horse who was back in third.
So not only are the two of you beating lumps out of each other with the FA Cup this weekend, you're also taking each other on with the eye catchers in the same
Exactly,
race.
that's the thing, exactly. The FA Cup semi-final, taking each other on, and now, yes, going to the same race then. Yeah, so for the listed Burradon Stakes, now Royal Playwright in there, purple colours with the light blue cap. He just got no run whatsoever. He had to have a bit of cover because he was just still a bit keen, and I think Sheen Murphy did the right thing there, but it was just one of those things where so frustrating when you go to Newcastle and they bunch up even in a small field. But just look at him right in the middle of this pocket here. He's still full of running at this point, but just as soon as the race starts to heat up, horses from behind him start to come around him. He is obviously not last, but he is sitting there still on the bridle, but behind a whole load of horses. So he's had to switch to the least favourable part of the track, down the centre there, following Sam's eye catcher as well. And at this point, Sheen Murphy, it's like he just accepted it and thought, I'm not going to give him a hard time. But just look at the way he's staying on. To be beaten only 2 lengths after not being given a hard time with things once the race had gone. So I think a step up in trip will suit him. He is also still in the Dante and the Derby as well. And that mile trip was just far too short for Royal Playwright. So they are 3 horses to put into your tracker. Right, best bets for this weekend time. Deck, you're up first again.
Right, for best bets this week, I've only discussed one of them, would you believe? Because you know, the flat is back, baby, and that's why. That's where I'm going. So the nap is actually going to run at Haydock, and it's going to be in the 240 there, a horse called Moyal. I thought he made an incredibly good seasonal debut at Doncaster at the start of the season. He, in our strongly run race, he was sat closer to the pace than the 2 horses that beat him home. Not only that, I thought Dave Allen probably moved a little bit too soon in him. He got to the front way too soon into that headwind. He was just a sitting duck late on, and I thought given those two elements, he ran an absolute screamer. He's won around Haydock before, so he will do for me as the nap. The next best we have discussed, that's Lucky Place for the Henderson team. They've won 3 of the last 4 renewals of that race, so I'm hoping they'll make it 4 and 11, as we discussed earlier in the show. And I know we landed the long shot last week. I really struggled with a long shot this week, to be honest, but I'm going to give Havana Pussy, what a name, 205 at Leicester shout for the Gallagher Yard. Good old Jack Doughty, good £3 claimer is riding him. Plenty of pace on there. I hope he'll be doing his best work late. He might be able to run well at a nice price.
We've managed to keep straight faces
Grow,
Kate, through that. It's you that sets me off. Right, they are Dec's best bets then for the weekend. Sam, your own.
Yeah, it's a great weekend of jumping in my book, so that's where I'm sticking. Sandown, all 3 of mine will come. We'll kick off with the nap, and I'm actually swinging for the trees a little bit. I'm not quite sure what's got into me. A 10 to 1 nap. Yeah, people out there can make their own jokes, given I tip too many favourites up, don't I? But Norodon's a really curious runner for Paul Nicholls in this race, and Sean Bowen booked to ride. Obviously, great to see Sean getting his celebration on Saturday for a fantastic season. I don't think there's been anyone riding better than him this season. Well done on him winning the Irish Grand National as well. But let's go back to this horse, who's massively unexposed as a 4-year-old. Won last time out at Taunton, and I just think he's a really interesting opening mark of 116. French import for Paul Nicholls. If we had younger horses to go okay in this contest as well. It is super competitive, and it is very much in at the deep end, but just wonder if he thinks he's feasibly pretty well handicapped. Harry Cobden, I assume, would have had the choice, but he's obviously opted for the favourite. But I thought at 10 to 1, he was a massive price. Dancing City next up. We've discussed him in the big race, the big betting handicap of the weekend, and I really hope that better ground and the sort of slightly different test that race presents really brings out the best in him, and we can get another novice go in and win there. And then finally, my long shot is Le Patron, a massive price, a bit of an each-way play there. He's got to try and improve again, but I just wonder if he's going to be one of the more fresher horses in the race. He'll have had one of the more lightly campaigns of the season so far. I do think we'll see a shock or two on the cards at Sandown on Saturday. I'm hoping he can at least be in the mix turning for home.
Nicely done. Right, my own nap then. I'm going to go for Kit's Bull, which doesn't feel like a very kind of nappy horse for me, really, considering he disappointed last time out at Aintree. But I just don't think Willie Mullins is going to leave this horse behind now on the drop back in trip to the 2 mile 5.5 furlongs, drop down in grade as well to grade 2 company. And he is a smart horse, as we know, previously seeing him winning over 2 miles. So I'm hoping that this will be ideal for him. First time heard, and getting £2 from Lucky Place as well, despite being rated the same. There you go, Dec. So hoping that Kit's Bull will go in at 15 to 8. Next best bet is going to be Manella Kakuna to win the race that he won last year off of £4 lower last year, but I really don't think that this rise is beyond him. He's actually carrying a lighter weight, though, than last year because, of course, his own stablemate pushing half the field out of the weight. So he's actually, in terms of the physical weight on his back, and he's not a huge, great big horse to be carrying that. I actually think that might suit him better as well. And good old Hitman. This would be the most Hitman thing to do, wouldn't it? To go to the Grade 2 Oaksey Chase and finish second at 16 to 1 here. Now, we know he's ever so consistent in Grade 1 company, Grade 2 company throughout the entirety of the season. It's just actually getting the job done is his problem. And you kind of thought, going to the Grand National, he was going to be a horse where he would either sink or swim, because he's not the bravest, he's not the toughest of horses, hence why he's got those string of seconds to his name. And a horse like that, you either think they're absolutely going to love the big green spruces there, or they're going to resent it. He resented it. So I wouldn't even draw any conclusions out of him in the Grand National last time out. And this would just be such a him thing to do, to come back now to finish second and to spoil a few of those place parties as well. So Hitman then it is for me as my long shot. But that is everything from us on this jam-packed show. So Dec, Sam, thank you so much for your company. Sam, I wish you absolutely no luck for tomorrow, but we will see you again in person very soon. Thank you so much for watching again. Do let us know in the comments section any of your bets or tips for this weekend. And we'll be back at the same time next Friday to preview Newmarket, including the 2,000 guineas.